Once again, I'm your host Solik. Co-hosting this round is Corissa Grant of Worthy Chaos Comics, here to promote
Hi.
her Egyptian terror and zombie-infused, independently produced comic books and graphic novels. Welcome. So, how are zombies changing in the ever world of self-published comics? It seems like there's a lot of people just encouraging it. George Romero's Jr. even tried a few, I know, and
Um,
everyone's
Zombies are
got
just awesome.
well, exactly. And it's just so annoying having to tell people this is like it can be like any genre, all kinds of things. There's plenty to like any monster movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I liked zombies before they were cool. Like,
Oh yeah, same thing with
before The Walking
mummies.
Dead.
Is like there's just something about it. It's no different than Frankenstein or Dracula.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the story is a mix of everything. Book three, which is like issue 15, is the big zombie apocalyptic situation. Before that, there's just a couple of minor zombies that go after them, and kind of like a tease of one comes at, like falls out of the door and goes after them, or there's some in town. So like issues 1 through 3 have a couple in town. But they book book three is where it really comes, because it's like Resident Evil 2. They're trapped in a city, and they run into two other characters, mostly to torture my characters, because they're especially Draven, who's the main character, and his soulmate Serafina. He gets very jealous, so we like to have the other guy be there to like torture my character. um but yeah, and for book three, which again is coming up soon, we have Anubis, which he kind of talks about. And I was writing the script. Yeah, I was writing the script yesterday, and at first, so in ours, Anubis is being controlled by her father. She's an angel descendant, and her father is an angel, and he controls Anubis with the remote control. um and Draven's father is a demon, and he controls the Hellhound. So you kind of got, the both sides going after them. So for Anubis, he's not obviously happy about being controlled. Um
What is
and
control? No, I'm just kidding.
right? It's all an illusion.
We know it's not a monkey's paw dilemma, like the Wishmaster coming in screwing this up.
That's right.
Egyptian
um
baby.
well, in book three, Anubis goes through a portal, because he can go through different worlds. So he goes through a
I
portal to follow my main characters, who go through a portal. So when he pops out of this portal, all the zombies are, like the horde is standing there, and he's watching as the characters, again, they just escaped. And all the zombies come up with him. And at first, I was gonna have him like slash through. Then I was like, no, wait, he can control them. So all he does is like lift up his staff, and like the zombies just kind of like move out of the way, like the sea parting sea, and he like walks through it.
right.
So yeah, so that's kind of his world. Like he's kind of digging that place.
He's digging it all right.
Yeah.
These visuals samples you sent me pre-interview are just so eye-catching. How would you describe your comic book drawing style, let alone writing?
So the drawing style is, our artist is Jonas DaCosta. He's absolutely amazing, and I will tell you that it's his first paid job. Before I start, like, he's never done this before. Yeah,
saying his first.
yeah,
It might be his first well known.
yeah. So he's, and I kind of threw him in. I was like, "You're signing up for, like, because we already have."
You're doing this. I'm not asking. Thank you.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah.
the paycheck. Get it here by next week, baby.
The funny part is, so I wrote this story as a role player with a co-writer. Well, we role played for 3 years, two years officially. We're still writing. So we role played for 2 years in the zombie verse, of course. And we came up with 11. We wrote 11 novels, like about 90 to 100 and something thousand words each. Like there's 5 of them is this series. So this series is already written. It's about between 35 and 40 issues already written.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm converting them to scripts. That's my job, just converting them to scripts. So I've gotten the first 15 issues are scripted. And it's a very dark, it's obviously, it's So there is like the love part of it, like the characters are soulmates and they try to protect each other. It's not a mushy kind of love, it's a horror
No,
love. It's pretty much Romeo and Juliet in hell, I've been told. That's how people see it
it's
as Romeo
definitely
and
got a
Juliet.
Shakespearean
Yeah.
kind of Lord of the Rings kind
Yeah.
of feel to it. It's just fun. It's not
Yeah.
trying to be over dramatic or
It,
soapy or even
oh
pornographic.
yeah.
It's just fun. It's just fun, which is missing from just about
Right?
everything.
Like they're sarcastic and they care about each other, but they're kind of lighthearted about it. Like when they're joking about the ghost and she's like, put your hand through the fence, and he's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And she's like, put your hand through the fence. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I mean it's lighthearted. It's like a survival horror adventure. It's not like a slasher, not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Allegedly, I'm just kidding. I know.
yeah.
I know what you mean, though.
Well, there's a lot of slasher going on. But I mean, it's if you like, so it's kind of like when someone says, "What is it like?" I would say Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Supernatural in Silent Hill with Resident Evil. Like
Oh,
if you like any of those things, you're gonna like it. And it's 5 written books, and they all connect. But there's like subtle differences, like different monsters. Like the first book is issues 1 through 7, and they're in Helltown, which is pretty much Silent Hill. The town is merging with hell, so there's hellhounds are coming out, there's zombies coming out, the entire town is dead, so all the ghosts come out, and the skeletons coming through brick walls. I mean, it's just kind of, and then of course Anubis pops out, and he's like, there with the staff, and he's being all cool and stuff. I have a plushie Anubis, by the way. Just like my favorite thing on the planet.
Nice.
But
We'll have to get a zombie plushie soon.
I'm working on it because I have a zombie merman in the story. So we have a zombie merman plushie.
And then we have zombies. Gotta love it.
And then there's our skeleton birds, which is from issue 3. So I had to get those. I love plush. I love merch. Like I am like the merch queen over here. I have a 3-foot pillow of Anubis. Actually, I have like
Anubis. You gotta say it like they do on Stargate. Anubis.
Yeah, Anubis. Anubis is my favorite character of all time. I just love him, and I don't know why, but so there's a hellhound. That was the leader of the Hellhound Pack before Draven's father went and kind of wanted to control, the Hellhounds. So he beat up this leader, we call him Croc, and it's because she names him that because I don't know if you know Crocolite. It's a very pretty red gem, but it's toxic when you hold it too much or it's poisonous. So hellhounds are poisonous to angels, and he's a pretty red hellhound, so it's Croc for short. But so he kind of beat him up. He can no longer breathe fire. He's got a broken horn, and he kind of stays away from the other hellhounds. So in the last issue, so when this comes, issue 5 is coming out. Issue 4 would have just come out, and at the end of issue 4, you have Croc bring a stick up to Anubis to throw, and Anubis doesn't know what to do with it. I mean, he just picks it up and throws it, and the hellhound runs after it. So he's playing fetch with this hellhound for whatever reason. And the guy that controls him turns around, the angel, and he's like, "Stop playing around. We've got things to do." And but now this hellhound follows him around through all the rest of the issues, and just either carries a stick or he's like following him along. So it became this whole thing that when he goes into the other world, the remote control won't reach there. So they chain up the hellhound and says, if you don't bring her back to us, then we're just gonna stuff your new pet.
A dilemma.
So, yeah. So that's pretty much what his motivation is. And now eventually I will say he does get out of the control and he does join them, because in series 2 there is a war. Heaven and Hell actually team up against my 2 characters. So we have Anubis joining them with his army of mummies, and then Hecate and Hades join them with their army of zombies,
Right.
which my character is not thrilled about because she hunts zombies, and now she's around zombies, and it's a whole other thing going on. So that'll be fun.
That's neat.
So the story has a lot of lore to it. There's a lot of monsters that you don't normally see. Like you don't normally see zombie merman swimming around. We have a subspecies of vampires called clotters. They're going to be issue 4 through 6 for now, and probably later. But so with our zombies, with our vampires, they're called clotters. Their heart beats every 6 hours, so that it's just enough so that they don't go into rigor mortis. And so stabbing them in the heart or staking them won't work. You got to cut off their heads or burn them. But the worst part is that they all have the family has a hive mind. So if one of them bites you or tastes your blood, they can literally track, any of them can track you anywhere you go. So if you kill one of them to get revenge, they will track you down and just go after you until you're, destroyed. Which is obviously kind of the premise of what's going to happen, because she gets bit and then she kills one, and then they have to go and destroy the entire family that's just like hauled up in this warehouse, and they just like it's completely swarmed, which I'm excited about. But they have to feed directly from a human, or they start to decompose like a zombie. So they can't feed from a bag of blood. They can't feed from animals. So they have their souls and they have like their consciousness, but since you have to feed from humans, you have to eventually, just forget about it and, either die or, convert, I guess. Convert to the cult of...
There is no third way out unless you intend for such a surprise, motherfuckers.
So their one weakness is if they don't continually or regularly feed from humans, they start to decompose and they get weaker because they are exceptionally strong. Like
at least for this scenario.
Yeah. So for like issue 4, it starts out with my characters like beating the crap out of a whole bar. They just in the parking lot, and they kind of just destroy all these people. But then by the end of the issue, they get attacked by 2 of the clotters, and they're like beat down. So it goes to show that my characters are powerful, but they're also going to get their ass kicked by these clotters. So that's interesting to see. I can't wait to see it all drawn out. And for issue 6 with the swarm, I don't know if you know Ian Chase Nichols. He's the artist that was on The Tick and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, wow.
He's doing my cover. He did the cover for issue 2 with Anubis, and everyone loved it.
How did you contact him, if you don't mind asking?
I actually found him on Twitter, and he's like the nicest guy who has no idea how good he is.
He can do stuff outside of contract work and all that.
Yeah. So he goes, I give the artist all the freedom to do like covers and stuff. Like I don't like this, one, because I'm lazy and I don't want to tell them what to do, and 2, I kind of like to see what they come up with.
You like to be a director where you're seeing people lead us in the most, you like the suspense of it all, going in a direction you don't know.
Like I don't like designing covers. I just like to see. I like to be surprised with them. And plus, the artists, they don't like to be tied down. They want to kind of do their own thing. If they ask me if I need, I can't think of something. What do you want? Then, but none of them has asked me that yet. So he said, he actually asked me, can I do another cover? And I'm like, yeah. And I said, do you want? And I gave him a whole list of like, do you want the giant salamanders? Do you want, zombies? Do you want ghosts? Do you want vampires? Like, oh, vampires. I was like, all right. And he goes, do you want them like, can I do like them swarming from like the back cover to the front cover? And I was like, yeah, like, of course you can. So he's going to be like having the vampire, it's going to be a wraparound cover with just all the vampires just going after my characters. So I can't wait to see that done. And I do have a cool cover for issue 4, which is, I don't know if you know who Ken Hunt is. He was a pencil and inker on Batman and Harley Quinn for decades, and he drew the cover, which looks amazing. It's like a zombified Anubis kind of version, and we had it colored by CC Dela Cruz, which is the internal artist for Lady Death Universe, current Lady Death Universe.
I've heard that name, but it's not for that. What else have they done?
She does a lot. Like there's a huge list. Like I wrote them all down for the Kickstarter, and I was like, oh wow, she does this. So she does do a lot. And it's gorgeous, and they're both gorgeous like in their own right. So I'm actually offering them both, the which will also be on issue 5, because when issue 5 is released, which is for going to be this Kickstarter, I have all of the past issues available too, so you can like add them on, or you can get a higher tier with them. And there's actually a lot of variants. This is the first time I did more variants. Like I have two, or plus the original. But I love seeing like the other artists take, on my story or what they're drawing or whatever. So I'm excited about that. And these two covers that are for issue 5, we have Anubis destroying the building, which was actually, I gotta tell you, it's a funny story. So Anubis is destroying these buildings. And again, I didn't tell the artist what to do. I said,
you just gave them an outline of what will happen.
All I said was, I want Anubis and my 2 characters. You can do whatever you want. However, coincidentally enough, in this issue, he's destroying buildings. Like, that's exactly what he's doing. He's searching for them in the city, and he's just destroying through the buildings. And he had no idea. And I was like, how did you even come up? Like, what made you think you'd be destroying buildings? He was like, I don't know. It's just what came up. So it actually worked out really well. I have the original here, actually.
When you start a collaboration, do you, ultimately, it's a partnership and everything. How do you set your deadlines?
You mean for the covers and stuff?
Just anything. Just like, how do you get it done?
I don't. Normally I ask them. I normally when how long. With my artist, I get 2 to 3 pages a day, like Monday through Friday. So I love that because I love instant gratification. And like he's finishing the coloring on Saturday for issue 4, and he's already starting 5 on Monday. Like there's no it just keeps going. So I love it. My wallet doesn't as much, but I love instant gratification. So
nice.
Yeah. But as for the covers, normally I ask them first, how long do you think that this would take? And I actually have all my covers done or ordered for the entire book 1. Like even my graphic novel for book 1 that comes out for Halloween, and Ken Hunt and CC De La Cruz is going to do that one too. So that's already ordered. And then I already have all the other ones done but I think I already have 2 for book 2 already. So
any other genres you'd like to do?
I have dabbled with an elf, a story that I've been working on with another role player. She's an ice elf, and someone's like Elsa. I'm like, no, she's not like Elsa. She's a real warrior. But so kind of like probably a manga kind of thing, because that's kind of where she would fit. I used to love anime. I haven't watched it
Chainsaw Man versus Anubis. I can see it.
Yeah. I mean, horror is my genre. That's just kind of like a fun thing. Like I've been watching horror. My first horror movie was when I was 6. I saw Nightmare on Elm Street 3, and I was hiding on the stairs, and they were doing the vein marionette scene. I was so fascinated by this. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And then the second horror movie when I was 7, I think, was Cujo. And that was great until I went to the park and saw a muddy, drooling Saint Bernard running around like a nut. And I was like, I'm out of here. So I wasn't scared till I saw a real live version of Cujo. But yeah, I've always loved horror, and Ghost Rider was my first comic when I was a
wow.
Yeah.
Was that around the same time that other stuff like, I don't know, Faust and Spawn were becoming big?
Actually, yeah. And the reason why I actually started role playing was Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 video game. There was probably 1,000 people have heard the story by now, but there was a commercial for Resident Evil 2, and the crocodile comes out to get Leon. And I don't know why. That's what fascinated me. That's all I remember on the commercial, and it was enough. And I was a teenager, and I told my parents that I need a PlayStation because I don't have one. I was like, I need a PlayStation 1 to buy this game. And they're like, what? So whatever holiday was coming up, I was like, I want a pre-amped gift now. So we went out, we got PlayStation 1, and we rented the game, and there was no instructions. And I haven't played video games since Atari. This is really aging me. Yeah, so I'm playing, actually I played Duck Hunt too, so I can't really say that, but so I'm trying to get Leon to move, and he just keeps walking into the fire, and I'm getting super annoyed with it. And these zombies are just around me, and I threw the controller, and my brother, who's been playing Zelda for the last 10 years at that point comes in and starts playing. And I was like, get the hell out of my room. And then I start playing and I loved it. So I went out and bought that and Final Fantasy VII for whatever reason in the same day. And those were my first 2 games that I officially owned myself. And then I was frustrated because I found out that Resident Evil 2 has auto aim, and that was very useful. So, because it'll tell you when there's zombies in the room or whatever. And then that's why I started role playing. I came home from watching Stay Alive. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yes.
And then I was like researching.
That's a movie. Jeez.
So I was researching the real version of it because I love doing that to horror movies. And somebody was role playing, again, aging myself, on MySpace. And I asked them, is that legal? Like, you're using someone else's picture. Like, what are you doing? And then she's like, it's legal. You could just do whatever. And she goes, just pick a character you want to be and role play it. And I was like, so I'm looking around the room.
Did you ever do that with like board games where people were adding their own action figures or?
No, when I went to the comic book stores, which was very popular, I guess. And they would have like the, setup of the Dungeons and Dragons, and I would watch, but I never played it. I dressed up for like anime cons. I think I dressed out. I don't know if you know who Dietlit is, but I dressed up as an elf warrior for something. But so I role played Claire Redfield for 15 years. And that's why I had a giant cutout in my room of the Leon from Resident Evil 4. So I was like, they're like, who would you want to be? And I was like, I want Claire to finally.
I know. Just watch.
Yeah. So that was it. And then I had this story idea in my head for like the 15 years. And I had great writers, and I never found one that I really liked. I did, but it just didn't feel right. And then I found Jessica, who's the one that wrote this with me, and instantly we clicked. And I said, you want a role? And I said, I never give roles. Do you want this role? And she goes, I never take roles, and I'll take it. And then that was it. It's been 2.5 years. So we've been writing nonstop. She's like my sister. And we got really, yeah.
Thanks,
so
Mom and Dad. Where was the sister?
Yeah.
We'll return after these messages.
Hello and welcome to Culture Shocked, the pop culture podcast brought to you by 4 aging millennials and our outdated opinions. Join us every Tuesday as we discuss movies, TV, games, and even music, new and old.
Dude, what do you think you're doing?
Are you seriously trying to record a promo without us right now?
Well, yeah.
Dude, you can't just do the promo by yourself. Who's gonna listen to that?
Yeah, and you probably haven't even told them that we're a pop culture podcast where we always agree on everything. For instance, the Sam Raimi trilogy, easily being the best of the Spider-Man movies.
No. But I think we can all agree that Jaws is a classical masterpiece.
Nope, don't like that. But we do all agree that the sequel trilogy of Star Wars is the best in the Skywalker saga, right, guys?
That comment is so ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin.
Anyways, that'll do it from all of us here at Culture Shock. Thanks for listening.
Do you ever find yourself thinking about who would win in a fight between Goku and Superman? Hi, I'm James Gavsey, and on the Who Would Win show, me and my co-host Ray ignore anything important happening in the outside world and debate fictional battles between characters from comics, movies, and video games.
We got a new show every week, and almost always am I the winner.
Yeah, not true, Ray.
In the past, we've discussed such matches as Captain America versus Darth Vader, Solid Snake versus the Iron Giant, classic matchups like RoboCop versus Terminator, and even the Muppets versus Sesame Street.
That one was crazy. So if you're a fan of geek culture and love a spirited debate, check out the Who Would Win show wherever you get your podcasts, or check us out at whowouldwinshow.com.
We let things pile up in the DVR, we add them to our queues, we wait for the DVDs and Blu-rays. We time shift. The Time Shifters Podcast. Sci-fi, horror, fantasy, superheroes, comedy, action, film, television, maybe some not-so-current events. Find us on iTunes or at timeshifterspodcast.com.
Cool thing about Blind Knowledge is we are in multiple countries. We are worldwide all across the globe. We are in the US. We are in the UK. We are in Canada, Germany, India, Japan. We're in Australia, y'all. BlindKnowledge.com. Now back to the feature presentation.
Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, all things that we love, all manga that were originally published in the legendary magazine Weekly Shonen Jump.
But not every series can run for 300 chapters and have a hit anime. This is David.
This is Jordan.
We're the hosts of Shonen Flop. Each episode we look at manga that ran in Jump that didn't quite make it.
We discuss what it did wrong, what it did right, how the series could have turned itself around, and ultimately, was it a flop or not?
We're on all your favorite podcast apps, and you can find us at shonenflop.com.
Keep on flopping, floppers.
So we're very obsessed with the story. I know people say, "Oh, I live and breathe my story." I do. I'm either thinking about it or talking about it, reading it, writing it, or organizing it, or whatever. And now I'm scripting it is another thing, or buying merch. So pretty much I buy all the merch I want. And then by offering it on Kickstarter, it makes it tax deductible. So all these are mine. And then I'm just like, here, this is what we have to offer. So, but yeah.
Nice.
Love merch. Yeah.
Have you thought of doing any web series or independent movies since you have a very reliable crew now? Or do
I
they
would
not want to?
absolutely love to do like an animated version of my comic, like to actually like animate it.
Sweet.
Like yeah, because someone once said, "What would you do, movie or show?" And I was like, now if I had my huge production, I would love a rated R animated series of my show. But I am going to be studying animation next year to try to animate my actual comic, because I would absolutely love to see it animated. And I do have somebody made it for me on my Kickstarter video. Somebody for free, which it took him months to do. You see Anubis that from my page walk out and grab the staff and hold it up, and it glows and he roars and it's awesome. And it took him so long to do it. I don't know why he did it. He liked the character and he's like, "Oh, I want to do this." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Because animation's like $1,000 a minute. So yeah, he did like a minute and a half or something, and it's awesome. So I would love that. Made me obsessed with wanting to see it all animated, like just sound effects and galore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen the Walking Dead one. You've seen the Walking Dead where they took the comic and they animated like the actual comic. It doesn't even look like it was a still picture. Like the
Was this a video or just?
Yeah, it's a video. I think they only made one. It was like 8 years ago. But it was.
Would not know.
You got to look it up. It's issue 1, and
It just in the photo. I'm sorry, I really don't like Walking Dead.
Oh well, I haven't read the comic, but I just saw the animated.
I hear the creator is a piece of work. He's just firing everybody.
Yeah, he's
sorry, this is not a diss track.
I don't know that much about it. That's the only thing I know is that they turned. Someone sent it to me when I said I wanted to animate. They turned a still page into a moving page that doesn't look like it doesn't go slow or anything. So I got to learn how to do it.
It's a challenge. It's next thing.
Well, I made fan videos, so I know what it's like to have to be patient to do like 1 second edits or something, which is really annoying. So it's going to be like 20 times harder to animate. I was watching like how to make their eyes blink, and just that was like, really? So yeah, it'll be a long time, or maybe I'll win the lottery or something. But it's just that's where my money would go, is to making it animated.
There you go.
Yeah.
How are crowdfunders at this time, especially for comic book crowds?
Well, so I'm new. I've only been doing this 6 months.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, 6 months. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I have my second Kickstarter just about to start. When this airs, it'll be my third Kickstarter. So hopefully it goes well. To future self me, I hope it goes well. My second one, my first official one, because I had like a soft opening where just like my family knew about it or whatever. So I got like 100. But then I decided to do a real one where you go on lovely podcasts like this, and you try to sell yourself. I was going to say like a hooker, but not exactly like a hooker. I try to sell the story or whatever. So I actually did that, and I did really good. I had 77 backers, which I was thrilled with. So I'm hoping I at least have 77 backers for the next one, because I'm hoping they'll come back for more. I had very good feedback on the comic so far, so that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, there's always someone. I haven't had it yet, but I'm sure there's going to be people that don't like it. I mean, we're not.
Fuck them. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we do things a little differently.
I know. I'm just joking because there's online. You're not able to know really until it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, we do things a little differently. Like they're chapters, so they're not issues per se. They're chapters. And we have like the fonts are in sentence case because it comes from the story. But we also have a lot, which I've actually gotten good feedback with it, because I thought people would kill me. We have a lot of thought bubbles because they thought a lot, about each other.
All right. There you go. That's where toxic fandom should go. Just thoughts only. What?
So
sorry, I can't hear you. You're thinking. I'm just saying, oh, you can't. You're chicken shit. That's right. You're going on Twitter to blast me and kill me.
I can hate when that happens.
I'm kidding. I'm making fun of toxic fans. Because every person I've talked to, it seems like it is virtually indistinguishable half the time to tell people who are being serious from people who are just picking on you because you're famous. So it is, or they're following you and you just happen to come up in their hashtags and they want to troll. You don't know until it's pretty much too late. And it's like, well, if you were that serious, you could have written me a goddamn letter, an email, instead of, oh, I hate this and I don't know what would make it better and I'm full of shit. I'm sorry, we joke about all this because we want to detoxify. We want to get all this constructive chats going.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you.
Fandom doesn't have to suck.
Well, it was so funny because I was, the worse you are at something, the more popular it spreads. I just watched this video of this song that was awful. It's like the worst song ever written, and it's and it had
that's saying a lot.
Yeah, and it had but people were using it as to block other people, to really annoy people, so that they would play this. Mm-hmm. And it got so popular doing that it actually had 20 million views. So it was this worst song ever.
The song that's on everybody's nerves. Yeah, but it's not Long Shot. It's now, that never ends, and now it's like a Rickroll now.
Yeah.
To quote the room, you are tearing. Well, I do too. I took my mother when he was here in concert, but anyway, she doesn't like concerts, but she made an exception to that. But yeah, so this is a troll song, and kind of like Rebecca Black, it's spreading like wildfire.
Friday. Yeah. I actually didn't know about that song until a couple of months ago.
I didn't know until people would my Jack FM, which is syndicated around the country, would do that too each Friday. And I was like, really? Really? You're just doing that to see for a week? Yeah. I don't think it's that bad a song, but she's actually she's a good sport about it. Compared to other artists who would do the whole growing ego, why are you making fun of me, man? No.
Well, it wasn't the worst song ever. I mean, I've heard
not even close.
I've heard way worse songs. And it wasn't even her. I mean,
she didn't write it.
Yeah, she not only did she not write it, she paid the choreographer, whatever, the dance. They planned it. She didn't plan any of it. She was just. They paid this person to plan the video and tell her what to do, and she did it. So, I mean, you could make fun of her all you want, but I mean, whatever.
Or to not be bothered by it, I can respect that more than someone who gets all stuck up and why am I not famous when you're so mean?
I do know, I think she dropped out of high school because of it, because they were making fun of her. But yeah.
Aww.
I know, and she was pretty too. She wasn't I liked it. But I mean, I don't listen to it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, for me, it was just kind of like a student film that became immortalized as a movie. Yeah. And then compared to all the other awful metal and rap I've had to listen to, I will take it.
Like I said, there's far worse things I've listened to.
There's so much fucking worse.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't as cringy as everyone made it sound out to be. So I was like,
yeah. What R R-rated cartoon would you like to create, if any?
Mine.
No, I just mean in general, like just like.
Oh, like a movie?
Would it be a college comedy? Would it be just, I don't know, an R-rated fantasy of good versus evil? I don't know.
I just want. I would love a zombie series that's animated. I mean, think of all the guts and gore you could show without having to worry about makeup.
Yeah, and it's all in a comic, so because it's R-rated and drawn out, it's not going to get the same texture as, you know,
yeah.
movie.
We need a really good. We need a really good, R-rated horror series. I mean, we don't really have any good ones. I mean, I might be out there. I should probably look for them.
Altogether, I'm out of questions to ask. This is where I start making shit up, but I legit actually want to ask it because it does fascinate me. But altogether, I mean, what do you recommend for people like going to various venues? It seems like it's so easier nowadays to just even approach a comic book shop and just have business cards out without being accused of soliciting or.
That's exactly what I did. I went to my 6 or 7, I think maybe 8 local comic book stores, and I brought them free issues, and I said, do you want to set this up? And they did. So right now I'm in a lot of my local stores, and there's one actually in my town, and they became my home store because he's like, we should be your home store because you're here. And I had a book signing there couple in March. Yeah, March 18th, I had a book signing there. And I had no idea how people love local talent. Like,
they're getting sick of the professionals letting them down, really. But that's what sucks, too, is you got to navigate through a bunch of garbage before you get to the good stuff.
Yeah, I don't even buy mainstream anymore. Every comic I buy now is all indie. I buy like 20 a month. I support all my local.
They're so expensive anyway.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Plus, I actually do like the PDFs because I don't have to store them anywhere. So, I just love the PDFs.
Is the RAM good on the computer, honey? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect.
I can look at them on my phone. I mean, I think I sold. I think I made $350 in PDFs on the last campaign.
Don't tell us that. Secret. Keep it safe.
No. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying because taxes are crazy and all that.
I put it on my taxes, so I'm good. I'm good.
All right. I think you should not report that. And just put your day job.
I spent a ton of money last year, like 19,000. So it's on my taxes. So everything's on my taxes.
Yeah.
Well, it took me thousands to find my artist. Like, I did not like anyone I talked to at all. Like, they would send me, like, there'd be some that looked like were talented.
I share your pain. It seems like it's near impossible to find a better mixer because if you keep seeing some of the same assholes who you've been trying to avoid, then it becomes a matter of, okay, well, now I got to branch out, find a new venue. So I'm not trying to talk shit about anybody, but I'm also don't want to keep meeting the same guys who are like, I don't know, what do you want to do?
My first artist stole $3,000 from me, and then I spent $2,000 to fix it.
Please tell me that is off air.
It was my very first artist. It was my very first thing I was subjected to. He stole $3,000 from me. I spent $2,000 to have like 4 other people try and fix it. I hated it, so I wound up trashing and throwing away $5,000. And then my new artist redid it, and now it's 10 times better. But it was the worst thing.
Did you sign a paperwork so he could at least be sued in court?
Nope, because he's from the Philippines. Because that was the first person I found. And I found them on Reddit. Yeah, it was not good. So after that, it took forever to find the artist, and I was obviously trust issues at that point. And this artist, so this artist that I found, he actually found me, and he said, "Are you taking like commission? Are you taking submissions or whatever?" And I said, I'm so sick of paying to see crappy art. I said, if you want to hand me a free one, I'll check it. If not, I'll pay you after. I had like 5 people doing free ones for me because I asked. So he said, I'll just send you a free one. And it was awesome. It was like the best I'd seen. So I'm
sorry you had to go through a 5,000 mistake
sucks.
later. I'm not sure you want me to. Do you want me to print that? That's a lot to take. Okay. Because that's
What's
embarrassing
your-
also, because it's like, it's
Well, it's something, and I was even warned about it, like, oh, be careful, because there's artists that'll screw you over and blah, blah, blah. And what happened is I had done the first payment as, goods and services, but it takes 21 days to be approved. So they couldn't wait, and it was this whole thing. So I was stupid. It was my fault. I was stupid.
usually that's how they do it. They want it now, and you say,
Yep.
you'll get it when you get it.
Yeah, that's
But
yeah.
I know.
So when I found this artist, he goes, "I'll do half the book before payment, and then you pay me for the second half and the first half." And that's what I did. And he did half the book, and I paid him for the first half and the second half, and then now he's obviously doing issue 5, and he signed up for like all 80 issues that are written. So hopefully he'll stick around. He's the nice thing about him is he's not just a hired hand. He's actually part of the team now. Like he went on vacation for a month, which killed us because we had no pages and it was driving us crazy. And like 2 weeks in, we were trying not to bug him. My husband's like, "Don't bother him while he's on vacation." I was like, "I'm not bothering anybody." But he messaged me 2 weeks in and says, "I really miss drawing the story, and I can't wait till that vacation's over so I can come back and draw the story." And I was like, "Yeah, we need you back, but we need pages." So he's into the story too, and he loves the characters, and you could tell by the second issue he drew, it was just everything was spot on, And he even said, he goes, "I know these characters now, I know their behavior." I told him the idea for this issue 5 cover. So obviously Draven and Seraphina soulmates. So she's not the jealous type. Usually Draven is, but we have a very sexy vampire chick, and she's leaning against
She's
Draven.
really stressing on that.
Yeah, she's very
Are you
sexy.
sure this isn't Witchblade or Vampirella?
So a little bit, but no. So she's leaning against Draven, and Draven's like, not happy about it. But she in the background, you see Seraphina with like a machete about to chop the woman's head off because she's like flirting with her man. So and my artist is like, "Oh, I want to draw that so bad." So we're doing that.
That's great.
And everyone knows this jealousy. Like, so I have a lot of indie friends. That's mostly indie creators. So we're actually going to do like a crossover, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where like they jump into each comic book and they fight, or join with the other people. So we got like 4 or 5 that are set up to be actual issues, and then we have like other ones that are just going to be like background Easter eggs, finding things. I love crossovers. I've always loved crossovers. So one of my friends, Lori, she has a character who is she has Path of the Pale Rider, which, by the way, if you don't know, you should look that up. It's zombies and cowboys. And I love the male characters in hers. So I said we should have them cross over, and she goes, "Oh, we need to do one where, like, because she's a flirt, have her character kissing the hand of my character, and then you just have like Draven like ready to punch him like on the side." So I'm looking forward to seeing that done, because I love Draven jealous. I think he cracks me up. So I mean, he's this guy that, like, he's a demon, so he'll like tell off somebody and beat them to death and then turn around and call her baby. Like, it's just like this weird thing, So I like his I like how he only has eyes for her, and everyone else on the planet could just, crash and burn. So, but you could see when he joins up, like in book 3 and book 5, they're joined up by the other 2 characters. And Seraphine is the type like, "Oh, we got to help him," and he's like, "Why? Like, why are we helping these people?" And she's like, "We kind of have to help them." So they have this contrast of, him wanting to just be with her and her being like, "No, we got to save people." So it's fun to see them kind of banter about it, especially if she's going to get hurt. He's like, "Let him crash and burn. I don't want you hurt." But she gets hurt all the time. So we torture our poor characters. So all the time. Because why not?
Totally. And altogether, I mean, getting this comfortable with your new crew and then creating basically a reliable fortress of a development team, and just being able to spawn all these other side ideas and knowing how to incorporate them into future incarnations.
Yep.
It's all coming together. But now that you know how to go through all the scammers and all the reliable types, what's also part of the list before anything happens, other than NDAs and cartoon style drawings and preferences?
Well, I mean, you mean like for the story wise? You mean?
No, just putting a team together now. Now that you got your team, now that you got your style, your preferences, your vision, and now that you got your do's and do nots.
We have our story. We have the spinoff. That's 5 stories that we're going to do too. And we did have to. When you have a team, you have to compromise. When I first met my artist, we butt heads completely on a script. Like we yelled at each other back and forth. He had a vision. I obviously had a vision. And my poor husband's like, you need a new artist. I was like, no, he's the right artist. I just have to figure this out. Yeah, my poor husband's like, I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm like, no, I know he's the one. I just have to fix it. And what really happened was, so my artist takes, what I write, and I can write, usually when you do a comic book, you do 4 to 6 panels, and with him, he wants to do his own action sequence of panels, and he's great at it. He really is, which I didn't understand at first. So I had to compromise and cut my scripts almost in half and make them like 3 to 4 panels. And then he takes the 3 to 4 panels and turns them into like, 6 to 8, like this whole thing. And he loves it. It turned out so much better. And once I figured that out, that's what had to happen, it went so much, like we haven't had any issues. We had one cursed page where cursed. It needed like 20 changes, like constantly. And I don't even know why. I was just
is it because there's a giant battle and the artwork?
No, it was the simplest thing. So in issue 1,
really?
So he did issue 1 last because we had the old artist, and I didn't want to waste the money, and people told me don't redo it. So he actually started on issue 2. Then he did issue 3, and by the time issue 3 was done, I needed him to redo 1. I was like, we have to redo 1. So he went and redid 1, and for whatever reason, there's this one scene in the very beginning. It's like a flashback dream where her brother's a demon and he's killing her parents, and this is
sex. It's very particular.
Yeah. So he's killing the human parents, and he goes after her, and they were supposed
mom. No, just kidding.
So he went after her. Now they were supposed to run away together. So like Draven had left to get a gun to get her away from her.
No relation to Disturbed.
What?
David Draven.
Yeah.
It's the lead singer. Couldn't resist.
Yeah. So anyway, so she calls him and tells him not to come to the house. She's like, don't come to the house. My brother killed my parents and he's after me. So of course the first thing he does is go to the house. So he goes to the front door, and he goes out the back door, at the back window, and she's trying to get to him, and he gets in the house, calls her name, she turns around and gets hit by a car, and then gets taken away, and he slips on her blood and gets arrested for the murder, and then they're separated for 10 years. But for some reason, when she's out about to get hit by the car, there was always something wrong. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, I didn't have to tell him any corrections of any other page, but this one page, and I think there was like, it wound up being, I think it was like 13 edits, but like it not in a, like he'd fix it and then it'd be something else was found and then he'd have to fix that and then there was something else. Like it wasn't like 13 and then he fixed it. It was 13 redos, and I felt so bad about it, and I don't know why. Out of 3 books, that was the page.
No telling what, I don't know, what was he even drawing it on?
It was such a pivotal moment too. It's like it's technically the moment before they're separated for 10 years. And then during the 10 years, it was important. I mean, she was trained as a supernatural hunter and he was trained as an assassin. And then when they meet up in that town, that's when the demons started to merge it with hell. So that's that issue 1 is them meeting up after 10 years in this town as it's being merged with hell. And it was so funny because it's not a romantic meeting. I mean, my letterer at the time, I had a different letterer. At the time, he's like, shouldn't they be like kissing and crying and whatever? I was like, no, they think it's like a trick, a nightmare, a dream, or some illusion or whatever, because they thought they were dead and they were closed off, and they run into each other. 4 seconds after they run into each other, they get attacked by the entire town worth of ghosts anyway. So it's not like they had but no, it wasn't a very romantic meeting. They meet up after 10 years and he's like, you're not real. And she's like, yes, I am. And he's like, no, you're not
real. Yeah.
And then they get attacked by, so then they get attacked by all these ghosts, and then they go on a journey, and that was it. So they don't even really talk to each other until like issue 5. Issue 5 is when they finally like they're in a motel and they have a second to talk, and of course, 2 seconds after they get to talk, they're attacked by something. But they actually get to like have a conversation. So the first 3 issues are very chaotic, and since it's in my name, I'm allowed it to be as chaotic as it can be. But yeah, a lot happens in issue 1 through 3. So I mean, they go from Hellhound to the ghosts to the zombies, she's underwater fighting the zombie merman while he's stuck on the surface fighting whatever, and then you have Anubis chasing them, and so yeah, there's a lot going on. So
nice.
Yeah, good times.
What do you recommend for those who might be tempted to do this but aren't sure yet?
Oof. The only thing I'm going to say is do not do it if you want to make money. Do it because you want to see the project made. Like, I don't even need profit. I just need enough to pay my artist. I just want to see them made. So if you're looking for profit, you might get it. I've seen some comics go through the roof, indie comics, like, in the thousands. But it'll take a while and you have to be really good. So this is a passion project, and as long as I keep my house, I'm going to keep making them. So if you interview me in like, whatever, and I'll have a different background, I probably lost my house, but, generally I'd like to keep my house. But yeah, it's, I would say, one, like you were talking about, make sure you have a contract. And though money-wise, try not to do someone overseas. And if you do someone overseas, make sure they speak English, because, I had one screw up my script completely. So I would just say that. And then 2, probably think it through more than I did. I literally decided to make it a comic book and then hired an artist, and then, went to bed thinking, I don't even know how to do a script, and woke up and watched a 20-minute video and made a script. So plan it out, have a plan, strategy, and do lots and lots of podcasts.
There you go.
Got to get your story out there. Like, I know this story is great. I just need people to read it. And then, I have a lot of faith in the story, but you got to find the people, that want to read it. So,
right.
So that's the hardest part. Anyone that wants to do this, make sure that marketing is like 80% of making a comic. Making the comic was easy. I wrote it. Doing the scripts is easy. My artist does the work, and then now I have to sell it. So it's not fun.
No.
A lot of comic people don't realize how much marketing goes into this.
Correct. It doesn't happen overnight either.
No. And I'm still new. I mean, like I said, it's only been 6 months, so I got a while to go before my comic brings in enough, but I love seeing it be made, so we'll go into debt while that happens.
Oh dear. Other steps that you recommend as being part of the process, or is that pretty much?
I would say, so I know not a lot of people agree with me. I absolutely love having a writing partner. I mean, so when I say writing partner, she actually writes for Draven and I write for Serafina. So when you're reading the comic book, they literally are 2 different people that wrote for these characters. So they have completely different personalities. So it's a little different than most people, but at least get a co-writer that you can like bounce ideas off of.
Something.
Because
Everybody wins.
Yeah, it's so, we never had like a moment of like, what do we do next? We just sit down and write, and we'll come up with another idea, or one of us will have a dream and we're like, oh, we have to write this now. And it was, so it's great to have someone to banter with, but just make sure it's somebody that has the same thought process as you. Otherwise, then you're just fighting all the time, which is not productive. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's been a delight getting to know you and just getting this giant just sense of how it all works and why anyone can do it. Well, yeah, and accepting the chaos, but also just diving right into it.
Chaos is beautiful if you use it the right way. But I mean, if anyone wants to check out my story, it's Worthy Chaos. You can just literally search Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter. We're the only thing that pops up. And Worthy Chaos on Twitter. I'm mostly on Twitter. I like Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I like being. I have like 5,000 followers on there. So, but, I'm also on Facebook. So Corissa Grant, and there's a Worthy Chaos page, so they can go to that too. But
nice.
everywhere Worthy Chaos is everywhere. Just search Worthy Chaos and we pop up.
Sure. Okay. Stellar.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up